What's happening, Andy? Here I am joined by Andre of Rizzo. How are you today, Andre? What's happening?
I'm doing well, Andy. How are you?
I am awesome. A little cold. We've got our snow here. It's winter in Rochester, apparently a little early. Where are you
Yeah,
today?
it's winter in the Northeast. I'm at the Massachusetts office, just a few minutes from Boston. So yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's the same heat inside here, but it just seemed a lot colder seeing all that white stuff out there. But it's pretty at this point of the year, I think. It's okay for now. I'll be okay for now.
Well, so it's a good thing our conversation is going to revolve around Orlando and Printing United a few weeks ago because it was like 85 degrees there every
Oh, I
day.
was just in Orlando at ConnectWise last week. Orlando's beautiful this time of year. So that's a good segue. You just got done with the biggest American trade show of the year, and Printing United just wrapped up a couple weeks ago in Orlando. You were there. You guys had a huge presence. Let's tell me about the show.
That show, it moves around every year. Last year was in Vegas. Next year is in Vegas again. It's just such a good show. It gets high quality people attending the event. People who've done their homework. You know, years ago, back in the Chicago days, you always had a lot of students. No disrespect to students. I was a student, so were you. It's all good. But you know, we had a lot of parties that would come to that event just to pick up the goodies that we were giving away, picking up posters off of offset presses, if you remember back in the day. Today, it's just really focused buyers, a lot of interested people who've done their homework. Maybe it's I'm in the inkjet world, so we're seeing a high level of education about where inkjet fits and the role of inkjet. They know inkjet fills certain gaps. They know where their gaps are with these print service providers, and so they come into the booth knowing exactly what they're looking at and trying to figure out how many do they need, where it's going to fit, and all that good stuff. So it's a really fun 3 days at this point.
Busy 3 days. It looked absolutely packed this year. Good foot traffic. A lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of people. We had our typical array of products at the booth. We introduced a few new items. You know, last year we had the SDD booklet maker on one of our systems, and booklets are really popular today. This year we introduced the Plockmatic device. We not only introduced the Plockmatic device, but we actually put it on our flagship T2200 device that does 320 impressions a minute. So for those in the institutional world, the education implants, government implants that do a lot of manuals and booklets, this is a big deal. The fact that they can go from black and white booklets, because where do those booklets end up in some filing cabinet somewhere, right? Once they're used, and so the idea of adding color to them is a little bourgeois, right? It's a little expensive. It's viewed as a luxury. So when they can do it with inkjet, for about a penny a page, then it makes a lot more sense. So that's a big deal. We also introduced, not launched, a MICR technology. We've been pushing our Japanese factory for MICR for a few years now, and there's always a sense of who's using MICR, right? Europe is not big on MICR, Asia is not big on MICR, but
We
it's
are.
still a big thing in the US and Canada. So they finally gave us what we've been asking for, which is an attachment. So the interesting thing about our technology is the RISO prints in color. And as it exits the unit, this color image, it now enters the MICR device, and the MICR device can add one, two, or three lines of MICR numbering or information. Traditionally, MICR devices, once you have a MICR device, the entire page is typically black and white, and the entire page is black and white MICR. So it kind of plays with the quality a bit, and it impacts the cost per copy. So this is a little different in that the MICR is being added after the image has been printed in color. So we're actually adding MICR to a color image. We had several of my OEM friends come over as well, looking at the technology. who are really impressed by it as well. They too are looking at certain gaps in their product lineup. So it was good. We're looking to actually launch that in hopefully March, thereabouts, the end of our fiscal year. So late in Q1, hopefully early in just calendar year 2026, that thing will be ready to go because it's the attention it got at the show was even surprising for us. So very exciting.
Well, let's talk about who's giving it the attention. So that show is mostly customers, but more and more often dealers are attending. Even some dealers. I know Visual Edge last year had a booth. Can't remember if they had one this year, but no shortage of big name dealers and small name dealers just going to that show and just seeing the technology. Did you have a lot of your dealers there? Did you meet new dealers as well, or was it mostly end users?
It was it's certainly mostly end users, but you're right, there were a lot of dealers. EO Johnson was there, RJ Young was there, Visual Edge actually had a booth.
They did, yeah.
Um,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
I know POA's had booths there over the
Yep,
years.
POA is
They
another one
came
that had
into I
booths.
don't know if they had a booth this year, but the folks from POA came into our booth. So yeah, a lot of dealers there.
So your partners were all over it, and they like that micro. Um, is this something you're gonna with the launch? You're gonna have a whole training session, or you think these guys know what they're looking for? How are you guys gonna get that out there?
Um, I think there has to those who know about MICR know a lot, and those who don't know anything about MICR literally know zero. There's no in between. You either know this or you don't. But it's not a huge learning curve, right? When you think of your checks and you see that numbering, your bank account numbering, that's magnetic ink. That's what the MI in MICR stands for. Anybody who's doing business with financial institutions, we have one of our dealers that is writing up an RFP for a large entity, government entity, and they're not doing checks, but they need MICR on their government documents. And their MICR was over, attached to their technology was over $1 million.
Ooh.
Whereas, with ours, it's in the $150,000 price range unit, the RISO unit, and MICR. So a lot more affordable and still coming in with a high duty cycle.
And so this is financial. Would this just is it just strictly banks? What verticals would take advantage of this?
So you're looking at financial in terms of banks, yes, people in the mortgage business, certainly in the check printing business. There's a lot of commercial institutions that print checks. And then there are, again, back to government departments in government, like the one we're dealing with that is writing up an RFP is kind of like a liquor division, and they need to put MICR for control of certain documents. So it's a control tool, and we're excited to get into that part of the market because I mean, we're going to sell a few units there, but it'll get us into customers where there are no RISO products, and this will open the door to more RISO technology in those locations.
Well, you've been completely shut out of that market for forever, and now I kind of like the approach. Instead of reinventing the wheel, instead of having to uh, redo the entire RISO platform, you guys have figured out a workaround essentially. Where is this a partnership, I guess? You have a partner that comes in and now you've got this unit that attaches, or is this a RISO product?
No, it's RISO made.
Wow.
Um, Not the print heads,
Right.
but the technology itself is RISO made. I was very impressed with our engineers that put this together. So
So it all stays within the ecosystem, and then this isn't a product that somebody could just go get somewhere else and put it on. This is yours.
yes, yeah,
Very,
yeah.
very cool.
And it'll
Well,
be easy for the dealers as well. It's not like they have to undergo special training or anything like that. It's just another accessory,
yep.
probably an online course will do the trick. So it's dealer friendly in that way as well.
Okay. Um, back to Printing United. The Inkjet has just been taking off over the years, and little by little we see it eating away, eroding the traditional laser. xerography process products that are in
Yeah.
that category. What was your sense of the show this year? Is Inkjet here? Is laser still fighting for its life? What's the buzz out there at the show this year?
So what's interesting, just looking at our own stats, our sales are a little bit above what they were last year. Our ink sales are up slightly above 20%, right? I think they're like 125, 24% of last year. Why are our customers suddenly using 25% more ink? And I really think, and what we're seeing is not just me thinking this, but in speaking to our customers, it's the economy. The economy, it's been tough for 5 years, 5, 6 years now. And especially in the print market where, over this time period, they've been hit with higher wages, higher postage. Postage goes up every year.
Yep.
And most of the stuff that is printed gets mailed. Postage, paper is up. This year, we have two new factors. Of course, tariffs we've been dealing with for some 6 months. But, the impact of tariffs, we're really only going to feel that, I would think, in March, April of next year, because the Japanese deal got signed in July. Some manufacturers have increased their pricing anywhere from 12 to 18%. Those that haven't claimed they will on January 1st. And some are just writing it out to the end of the Japanese fiscal year, which is March 31st. And so when notice of these price hikes comes out, you can bet a lot of dealers are going to load up, which may carry them through the spring. So when will higher priced devices actually hit the market? You're looking at March, April, May, June. So in the next 9 months, when people look at tariffs and say, oh, tariffs, we really haven't felt the impact. It doesn't work that way. This stuff needs to cycle through the system. And so, in about 6 months to 9 months, we're going to start seeing higher prices for the actual hardware, higher prices on toner and ink, higher prices on parts as they all come out of Japan. And getting back to these print service providers, they are going to feel the impact of these higher prices. And guess what? They're going to have to call their customers and say, not my fault. I promise I'm not being greedy, but I'm going to have to raise your prices again. And every time they raise prices, it brings down the print volume. Okay. And so further to that, and what's really interesting here is we all have 401ks, and the companies that do well for us in our 401k, the Metas, the Googles, the Teslas, the Nvidias, they are driving the AI revolution. They are building data centers like crazy. These things are popping up everywhere, and they suck electricity like nobody's business. I mean, these things are electricity hogs, and it is driving up the cost of electricity in the US. Over the past 5 years, according to a Bloomberg report, we're paying 267% more for electricity today than we were 5 years ago. These print shops are not immune to that, and they're seeing their electricity bills go from 10,000 a month to 20,000 a month, probably 30,000 a month. This is a massive problem, and as they start to look at how to minimize the impact of electrical costs, the rising electrical costs, because again, rising costs means rising prices to their customers. And if that happens, again, there's less printing going on. There's only so much you can do with $1 million budget. If you're a print buyer, you're not going to, they're not increasing their budgets. They're just printing less. So what these print shops are doing is looking for ways to minimize the electrical consumption. And so Inkjet, right, which uses, depending on the brand or model, anywhere from 30 to 60% less electricity than their toner counterparts. RISO is in a special place because we use literally no heat at all, because we're the only ones with an oil-based ink. And so with oil-based ink, it's instant dry. We don't need a dryer to dry the aqueous ink. It's oil-based ink. We don't need a decurler and have to deal with that. So all of that means smaller footprint, way less electricity. Okay, and that's the key here. So for all these customers, they're taking all this into consideration. This is no longer, you and I have been in sales for forever. We're not going to say when we started, when we sold our first copier, um, but for everybody in this business that grew up selling copy quality and cost per copy, and I can get you a better lease rate, at least in the production print arena, this is a business sell. Like these poor guys, the owners of these print shops and the managers of these implants, they're looking at all these costs, right? Paper, postage, wages, the cost of goods, now electricity. It's hitting their bottom line. And so, as a salesperson, when you walk into these places, you need to address the pain points. And today, these pain points are not so much copy quality and cost per copy. It really is about the technology and how it impacts their bottom line.
So moving forward, this is gonna, I mean, once these tariffs hit, they're getting pressure from every direction. The end users, the dealers too, but the end users, as they try to get their arms around this, you're saying you feel like there's going to be more of a shift away from the zero graphic, and well, it's already happening. So it's gonna exasperate it a little bit, make it increase the rate.
Well, so what it does when we talk about higher prices means less printing, it means the run lengths are smaller, they're shorter. So if customer A gave you a job for 1 million copies, today that job is probably 500,000, 600,000. And so what it does for the print shop now is they're saying, well, wait a minute, do I need that, mammoth device, that monster machine for $1 million, or should I, for $1 million, maybe get 4 smaller devices because these run lengths are shorter? And so with multiple smaller units, I can, let's say they have 10 units. I can get units 1 to 4 to print job A, and units 5 to 7 to print job B, and units 8, 9, and 10 to print job C. And the objective is in an 8 hour to 10 hour shift to get 3, 4, 5 jobs out so that next day or next shift you start fresh. So the entire print strategy for these print service provider has changed compared to what it was years ago. So not only are they balancing the budgets, their internal budgets versus the economy, but also now manipulating their print strategy so that it meets the needs of these shorter run lengths. It's a brave new world out there when you're working in the production arena.
Well, let's talk about the image quality, right? That's one of the things I think that's held Inkjet back a little bit. Are we there? Is it comparable? Is it close enough? Is it good enough compared to laser with Inkjet, where customers are starting to pull away and push that volume towards the inkjet, or where you guys were the first ones there, pretty much the first
Mm-hmm.
ones there. And I remember your first devices were it was good enough image quality was where we're at, and I think we're way past that now. Tell us about how that stacks up and what customers are, in your opinion, what are they doing with when quality is an issue.
So we actually, to your point, we actually started cut sheet production inkjet in 2005. So this is actually our 25th, our 20th year. We're celebrating. So we've been at this for a while, and two factors have impacted the copy quality question. Number one, yes, the copy quality has gotten better, in part because the units have gotten better, but more importantly, the ink has evolved. And so the ink has changed to where, in some models, manufacturers, like RISO as well, needed a better magenta, or they needed a different yellow to be able to get into a bigger, a wider variety of the color spectrum, to grow into that color spectrum. So you have improved copy quality from the devices, yes, but also top-down pressure from the other end, from the print buyer, right? Now we're getting back to, I'm not prepared to pay higher prices for toner or for offset. I need it now, I need it fast, and I don't need as many, and I need it to fit into our budget. And so there's a greater acceptance from that customer who 10 years ago was, let's say, filthy rich, right? They had room to spare in their budgets that they had to blow money at the end of the year. There was a sense of, no, we're going to pay for top quality, glossy all the way. Even if it's going to end up in a filing cabinet, yeah, no problem. 4 cents, 5 cents, 6 cents a page, not an issue. Not today, right? Everybody is feeling pinch on the budget side. And so there's a much greater acceptance from the end users actually buying these prints to say, sure, this is fine for what it's supposed to do. Inkjet is perfect. And our mailbox tells that story. Most anything we get in our mailbox today, just check it out. Some of it is high quality inkjet. Some of it is just average quality inkjet, but it is inkjet. Okay. For all the reasons we talked about. And these print shops have known about inkjet for years. They've known about inkjet for 15, 20 years. Many of them have been using inkjet. It's actually the office world, the everyday person who is unaware that there is a technology out there that is lower cost than toner. And, that's not my place to speak. It's not our arena, that office space. There's already, 6 or 7 big players in that arena, but one of them will figure it out. And one of them is going to be able to get inkjet into that office space and really revolutionize that part of the industry the way inkjet did to the production arena.
Yeah, we have more resistance in office. It's always surprised me that, it was so readily adopted, quickly adopted by production and commercial, but it never really pushed its way down. And I don't know if that's just people remember those little inkjets on their desktop, 20 years ago, shaking the desk or jamming up at one page every few minutes, but it's not that world anymore. These things are faster than laser from what I've seen.
Definitely faster than laser. And yeah, it's not the desktop model. And a lot of that resistance comes from the marketing departments, not from the accounting division, right? They're the ones counting the pennies. They're the ones who are saying inkjet, it's fine. The marketing, they're the ones. And what's interesting? Inside that marketing office in corporate America, when they have meetings about the collateral they're going to put out, you think of a financial institution, who in that boardroom is saying, by the way, all this collateral, are we going to print this in color or black and white? Like, that ship sailed 20 years ago.
Yeah.
It's a foregone conclusion that all that work is in color. But what about all the disposable items, what we refer to as the transactional items? Well, we'll do that in black and white because it's disposable. And what the little bit we have to do in color, we'll do in color. The problem is we live in a color world and they're not monitoring those disposable items. And there's a growing volume that is being converted to color. And therein are the runaway costs. And that's where the accountants will call their managers in and say, what the heck is going on here? Why are we spending more on print? Oh, it's the disposable items. Well, either go back to printing those in black and white or get yourself a technology that will allow you to print those color jobs at an affordable price. Gee, I wonder what that technology is. Oh, I know.
I do too. I do too. Well, this has been awesome. Thank you for coming on and sharing today. The Print United show sounds like it was a huge success for you guys. Did you sell any machines while you were there?
We, in typical RISO fashion, we signed a high volume of orders. We signed about 100 orders.
Oh,
By the way, yeah, 25 of which were duplicators, right? I know you're a big fan of the
I
RISO
do like the
duplicator.
duplicator. We had them when I sold. We had them. We had some
Soft spot
Rico
in your heart for
duplicators
those.
back in the day. Yeah,
Yeah.
way back. So
But yeah,
duplicators
so
are still being sold. What else did you guys sell?
yeah, we had a lot of students, a lot of universities buying the duplicators in the booth for their arts departments. The other 75 were inkjet devices. So of those 100 units, once we get done with the credit checks, and some customers do change their mind, they're allowed to do that. We'll probably ship about 70, 75% of those signed units. The thing is, we signed about 10 Valises devices. Those customers don't change their minds. They
Yeah,
came in with a
they
purpose.
can't wait.
Those, oh yeah. Those we have to get on a truck pretty quick over the next 3, 4 weeks. So super successful show as it always is. And again, I can't say enough about the quality of the buyers and the people who attend that show. It's such a fun time for people like us, whether it's you in media or myself doing the selling, to be dealing with these customers who are really, really tuned in to where Inkjet fits today. It's a lot of fun.
Perfect. Well, on that note, thank you so much for coming on the show. It was great seeing you, and we will have to get together soon. I think I'm due to come up and get another tour. It's been a bit.
That'd be good. Driving from Rochester to Boston in the middle of winter,
Love
the
it.
only courageous people do that, and that's you, my friend.
Nothing better. Nothing better. Well, it was great seeing you, Andre. Thank you again for coming on. We'll talk soon. Take care.
All right, Andy. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.